changes our names. We see this even in scripture in more obvious ways. There are only a few people in the entire Bible that God actually changes their names for them. And 3 of them were in your homework this week. The first one is Abraham. And as you read, God changes his name from Abram, which means a noble father, to Abraham, meaning father of many. And the reason he does this is to signify you are becoming the person who I have made you. Your identity is in this. I will keep the promise that I have made to you. And then we see him change the name of Abram's wife, and it comes from Sarai and it turns to Sarah. And basically, even though it seems like a subtle difference, Sarai means my princess, which sort of is thought of as like the princess of one person. And then it becomes Sarah, which means princess, but princess to many. And again, the idea was the same. I am going to keep my promise to you, and this is who you're going to be. And then Jacob. I love the story of Jacob. I always have. And I want to point something out here because I think a lot of times when we're reading scripture, we miss some of the patterns that God has put in there. And they're important for us to pay attention to because they continue on throughout the entire thing. And what we see here is Sarah, who hadn't necessarily believed the promise of God and had sort of like stepped in and decided she needed to take things into her own hands, manipulated it a little bit, and after that hiccup eventually had the child that God had promised. That child grew up and then had Jacob. Jacob is a manipulator himself. He's born that way. His name means heel grabber. From the very beginning, we see him vying for the position of being first and trying to be known. He's lived his entire existence this way. And I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I'm so glad that there are Jacobs in the Bible. Because I think if I were to read it, I would think, well, maybe I'm the only one who does this. Maybe everyone else is righteous and they do things perfectly. But no, there are people like Jacob who you look at and you think, okay, I'm a Jacob. Maybe there have been times in your own life that you've manipulated things or you've twisted them, even lied to get accolades, to get something that you wanted, to change the situation or make people see you differently. I mean, I haven't, but maybe you have. Obviously, I'm totally kidding. I think in some ways I've been a Jacob since the day I was born too. And so when I read his story, I'm just so moved by it.